What if I told you that the moment you genuinely stop caring about someone's opinion of you, they suddenly become obsessed with getting your attention back? 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote something that would shake the foundations of human psychology forever. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how this ancient wisdom can completely transform your relationships, your career, and your entire life. But here's the catch. Most people get this completely wrong. They fake not caring, they play games, they manipulate. That's not what we're talking about today. Stay until the end because I'm going to reveal the 3 psychological triggers that make this work, and why 90% of people who try this method fail miserably. I've studied the psychology of influence, power dynamics, and human behavior. I've seen this principle work in boardrooms, relationships, friendships, and even with family members who seemed impossible to deal with. But before we dive deep, let me tell you about Sarah. Story 1, Sarah's transformation. Sarah was a marketing manager who was constantly overlooked at work. She'd send dozens of emails that went unanswered, volunteer for extra projects that nobody noticed, and work late nights hoping someone would finally recognize her value. Sound familiar? Then Sarah discovered what I'm about to share with you today. She stopped chasing approval, stopped over-explaining her ideas, and started focusing solely on her own standards of excellence. Within 6 weeks, her boss was asking her opinion on major decisions. Within 3 months, she got promoted. And the best part? She wasn't playing games or manipulating anyone. She had genuinely shifted her focus. How was this possible? It all comes down to what Machiavelli understood about human nature. Chapter 1. The Machiavellian Foundation. The original insight. In The Prince, Machiavelli wrote something that most people misunderstand. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But here's what he really meant, and this is crucial. He wasn't talking about being cruel or mean. He was talking about being unpredictable and self-contained. Think about it. Who gets more attention? The person who's always available, always agreeable, always seeking approval? Or the person who has clear boundaries, their own agenda, and doesn't need external validation? The psychology behind it. When you stop caring about someone's approval, 3 things happen simultaneously. 1, you become unpredictable. People can't manipulate you with guilt, anger, or emotional blackmail. Your responses become authentic rather than calculated. This creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive behavioral pattern. 2, you demonstrate high value. Scarcity principle kicks in. People assume you have other options. You signal that your time and attention are valuable. 3, you trigger their insecurity. They start questioning their own value. They wonder what they did wrong. They become obsessed with regaining your attention. Story 2. The Celebrity Waiter. There's a famous restaurant in New York where the waiters are known for being incredibly aloof. They don't smile excessively. They don't ask how your day is going, and they certainly don't laugh at your jokes. Guess what? It's booked solid for months, and people pay premium prices just to eat there. Why? Because the staff's indifference makes customers feel like they need to prove themselves worthy of being there. This is the power of not caring about others' approval in action. But here's the critical distinction. There's a massive difference between genuine indifference and fake indifference. Fake indifference is playing hard to get, ignoring people to manipulate them, pretending not to care while secretly obsessing. Genuine indifference is having your own goals and priorities, not needing others' approval to feel good about yourself, being kind but not desperate for acceptance. The difference? Authenticity. People can smell fake from a mile away. If you're finding this valuable so far, hit that like button. It helps me know you want more content like this, and it helps other people discover these life-changing principles. Chapter 2. The Science of Attention and Validation. Now let's talk about why this works so well from a neuroscience perspective. The dopamine connection. When someone gives us attention or approval, our brain releases dopamine. It's the same chemical released when we eat chocolate, win money, or fall in love. Literally addictive. But here's the kicker. The most powerful dopamine release doesn't come from consistent rewards. It comes from unpredictable rewards. This is why slot machines are so addictive. You don't know when you'll win, so your brain stays hooked on the possibility. When you stop giving people consistent attention and approval, you accidentally turn yourself into a human slot machine. They become addicted to those rare moments when you do engage. Story 3, the text message experiment. I once knew a guy named Marcus who was always the first to text back, always available, always eager to please. One day, he got busy with a new project and started responding to texts hours later, sometimes not at all. He wasn't playing games, he was genuinely focused on something else. Suddenly, people who hadn't talked to him in months were reaching out. Friends were asking mutual acquaintances if Marcus was okay. His ex-girlfriend even showed up at his apartment just to check in. What changed? He stopped being predictable. He stopped being available on demand. The scarcity principle in action. Economics 101. When supply goes down and demand stays the same, value goes up. Your attention is a commodity. When you give it away freely to everyone, it becomes worthless. When you become selective about where you invest your time and energy, it becomes precious. But again, and I cannot stress this enough, this isn't about being manipulative. It's about having genuine self-respect and standards. The mirror effect. Here's something fascinating. When you stop seeking others' approval, they start seeking yours. Why? Because humans are wired to mirror each other's behavior. If you're constantly chasing someone's approval, you signal that their opinion is more valuable than yours. So they treat it that way. But when you demonstrate that your own opinion of yourself is what matters most, others start to believe it too. I learned this the hard way in my early 20s. I had a friend who would constantly cancel plans last minute, ignore my texts, and generally treat me like I was disposable. One day I stopped reaching out. Not out of anger or to teach them a lesson. I just got busy with my own life and realized I didn't actually enjoy their company that much. Within a week, they were calling me. Within a month, they were treating me completely differently. They started asking my opinion on things, including me and plans, and generally showing me the respect I had been desperately seeking before. The moment I stopped caring about their validation, they started valuing mine. Chapter 3. Real-world applications. All right, enough theory. Let's talk about how to actually apply this in your daily life. In professional settings, the meeting room phenomenon. You know that person in meetings who talks the most, agrees with everything the boss says, and desperately tries to be heard? Nobody respects them. But the person who speaks sparingly, only when they have something valuable to add, and isn't afraid to disagree respectfully, everyone listens when they talk. Case study, the promotion paradox. Jennifer worked at a tech company where she was constantly volunteering for extra work, staying late, and trying to prove herself to her manager. After learning these principles, she made 3 changes. 1, she stopped volunteering for everything, only took on projects that aligned with her career goals. 2, she stopped over-explaining her decisions, presented her work confidently without justifying every choice. 3, she started saying no to requests that didn't serve her, politely but firmly. The result? Her manager started consulting her on important decisions. Her colleagues began coming to her for advice. And 6 months later, she got promoted to a leadership position. Why? Because she demonstrated that her time was valuable and her standards were high. In personal relationships, the friend who always says yes. We all know someone who's always available, always agreeable, always ready to help. Paradoxically, these people often get taken for granted. Why? Because there's no challenge, no mystery, no effort required to maintain their friendship. But the friend who has their own life, their own interests, and isn't always available, that's the friend people make an effort to see. Story 4. The Birthday Party Revelation. My friend Alex used to organize elaborate birthday parties, always making sure everyone was happy, constantly checking if people needed anything. One year, he decided to do something different. He picked a restaurant he liked, invited people with a simple message. I'm celebrating my birthday here at 7 p.m. Hope to see you there. No follow-up texts asking who was coming. No anxiety about whether people would show up. No trying to accommodate everyone's preferences. Guess what? More people showed up than ever before. And they all made an effort to be there because his invitation had weight. It wasn't desperate or needy. It was confident and authentic. In romantic relationships, this is where people often get this concept wrong, so listen carefully. This is not about playing hard to get or manipulating someone's emotions. It's about maintaining your own identity and standards within a relationship. The healthy boundary example. Instead of constantly texting, "Good morning, how are you? What are you doing? I miss you." Throughout the day, you live your own life. You text when you have something meaningful to say. Instead of canceling your plans whenever they want to hang out, you maintain your commitments to friends, hobbies, and personal goals. Instead of agreeing with everything they say to avoid conflict, you express your genuine opinions respectfully. The result? They respect you more, value your time more, and actually find you more attractive. The common mistakes people make. Before we go further, let me address the 3 biggest mistakes I see people make when trying to apply this principle. Mistake 1. The cold shoulder. Ignoring people completely. Being rude or dismissive. Withdrawing all warmth and kindness. This isn't indifference. It's passive aggression, and it backfires. Mistake 2. The fake busy. Pretending to be unavailable when you're not. Making up excuses to seem important. Playing elaborate games. People can sense authenticity. If you're faking it, you'll get caught. Mistake 3. The overcorrection. Going from people-pleaser to completely selfish. Never helping anyone or showing care. Using this principle to justify being mean. Balance is key. You can be kind and caring while still maintaining boundaries and self-respect. How many of you have made one of these mistakes before? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and your experiences help other people learn. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Power Dynamics. Now let's dive deeper into why this principle is so powerful by understanding the psychology of power dynamics, the pursuit dynamic. In any relationship, romantic, friendship, professional, there's always a subtle dance of pursuit and withdrawal. The person who's pursuing values the other person more. The person being pursued holds more power. But here's what's fascinating. These roles can flip instantly. Story 5. The CEO and the consultant. I once knew a consultant who was hired by a major corporation. In the first meeting, the CEO was barely paying attention, checking his phone, clearly thinking this was a waste of time. Instead of trying harder to impress him, the consultant did something unexpected. He politely closed his laptop and said, "I can see you have more important things to deal with. Let's reschedule when you have time to focus on this." The CEO was shocked. Nobody had ever done that to him before. That simple act of self-respect completely shifted the dynamic. Suddenly, the CEO was pursuing the consultant's attention. The project went from a small contract to a year-long engagement worth millions. What happened? The consultant demonstrated that his time was valuable, and he wouldn't accept disrespectful treatment, regardless of who the other person was. The value demonstration effect. When you stop chasing someone's approval, you're demonstrating 3 crucial things. You have options. People who are desperate don't have choices. People who are selective do. You have standards. You're not willing to accept just anything. This suggests you're worth pursuing. You're outcome independent. You're not attached to any specific result, which paradoxically makes people want to give you the result you originally wanted. The contrast principle. Most people in someone's life are seeking their approval, validation, or attention in some way. When you're the exception, when you're genuinely focused on your own goals and standards, you stand out dramatically. It's like being the only person not laughing at a comedian's joke. Suddenly, the comedian becomes obsessed with winning you over. Practical example. The group dynamic. You're in a group of friends, and everyone's trying to impress the popular person in the group, laughing at their jokes, agreeing with their opinions, competing for their attention. But you're genuinely engaged in your own conversation, focused on your own interests, not paying them special attention. Guess who they'll be most curious about by the end of the night? The authenticity factor. Here's the crucial element that separates this from manipulation. Genuine authenticity. When you're truly focused on your own growth, goals, and standards, You're not thinking about how to make others chase you. You're just living your life according to your own values. This authenticity is what makes the principle so powerful. People can sense when someone is genuinely self-contained versus when they're putting on an act. The biggest mindset shift for me was realizing that I didn't need to be liked by everyone. In fact, trying to be liked by everyone guaranteed that I'd be respected by no one. When I started living according to my own standards and stopped seeking external validation, the quality of my relationships improved dramatically. Not because I was playing games, but because I was finally being authentic. Chapter 5. Implementation Strategies. All right, you understand the theory. You've seen the examples. Now let's talk about how to actually implement this in your life starting today. The 30-day challenge. I'm going to give you a practical 30-day plan to start applying these principles. But remember, this isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about developing genuine self-respect and boundaries. Week 1, the awareness phase. Day 1-3, notice when you're seeking approval. How often do you check social media for likes? Do you over-explain your decisions? Are you constantly asking others what they think? Day 4-7, start small withdrawals. Don't be the first to text in group chats. Stop volunteering for everything at work. Don't immediately respond to every social media notification. Week 2, the boundary phase. Day 8-10, practice saying no. Turn down one request that doesn't serve you. Don't justify your no with elaborate excuses. Simply say, I can't commit to that right now. Day 11-14, focus on your own goals. Spend time on a personal project, exercise, or pursue a hobby without posting about it. Make plans that revolve around your interests, not others. Week 3, the standards phase. Day 15-17, stop tolerating disrespectful behavior. If someone cancels last minute, don't immediately reschedule. Don't laugh at jokes you don't find funny. Express your genuine opinion when asked. Day 18-21, become selectively available. Don't answer every call immediately. Take time to think before responding to important messages. Prioritize quality conversations over quantity. Week 4, the integration phase. Day 22-30. Live according to your own standards consistently. Make decisions based on your values, not others' expectations. Celebrate your achievements without needing external validation. Maintain your new boundaries even when people push back. The do's and don'ts. Do. Be polite and respectful. Focus on your own growth and goals. Maintain consistent standards. Express genuine opinions. Value your own time and energy. Don't. Be rude or dismissive. Ignore people to manipulate them. Make up excuses or lie. Swing from one extreme to another. Use this to justify selfish behavior. Handling the pushback. Here's what's going to happen. When you start implementing these changes, some people won't like it. The people who are benefiting from your people-pleasing behavior will push back. They might call you selfish, say you've changed, or try to guilt you into returning to your old patterns. This is normal. This is expected. And this is actually a good sign. It means you're doing it right. Story 6, the family dinner dilemma. Sarah decided to stop attending every family dinner her mother organized, especially the ones scheduled with just a day's notice. She politely explained that she needed more advance notice to plan accordingly. Her mother was not happy. "You're being selfish," she said. "Family should come first." But Sarah held her boundary. She offered to help plan dinners in advance and was happy to attend when given reasonable notice. Within a month, her mother started planning dinners a week ahead. She started asking Sarah's opinion on dates and menus. Most importantly, she started treating Sarah's time as valuable. The key was Sarah's consistency and kindness. She wasn't punishing her mother or playing games. She was simply maintaining a reasonable standard. The long-term mindset. Remember, this isn't a quick fix or a manipulation tactic. This is about fundamentally changing how you relate to yourself and others. The goal isn't to make people chase you. The goal is to live authentically according to your own values and standards. The respect and attention from others is just a natural byproduct. When you genuinely stop needing others' approval to feel good about yourself, you become magnetic. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're genuinely hard to get. You have standards, boundaries, and self-respect. Let's recap the key insights from today. The Machiavellian truth. When you stop seeking approval, others start seeking yours. The psychology. Unpredictability, scarcity, and high standards trigger respect and attention. The application. Professional settings, personal relationships, and romantic connections all respond to authentic self-respect. The implementation. 30-day date challenge to gradually build boundaries and standards. The mindset. This is about authenticity, not manipulation. The most important point. The people who will be bothered by your new boundaries and standards are exactly the people who are taking advantage of your old patterns. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. The people who matter, the ones worth having in your life, will respect your self-respect. They'll appreciate knowing where they stand with you. They'll value your time more because you value it yourself. Your next steps. Here's what I want you to do right now. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if this content is helping you transform your relationships and your life. Start with one small change today. Pick one area where you're going to stop seeking approval and start living according to your own standards. Share your experience in the comments below. What's one boundary you're going to set this week? Your story might inspire someone else to make the same change. Watch this video I made about related topic. I'll link it in the description. It goes deeper into the psychology of confidence and self-respect. The challenge. I challenge you to implement just one of these principles over the next week. Not to manipulate anyone or play games, but to start respecting yourself enough to live according to your own standards. Remember, when you stop caring about everyone's opinion, you start living your authentic life. And an authentic life is irresistibly attractive. Final thought. Machiavelli understood something profound about human nature. We respect what we cannot easily obtain, and we pursue what seems just out of reach. But the most powerful version of this principle isn't about making yourself seem unavailable. It's about actually becoming someone worth pursuing, someone with standards, boundaries, and genuine self-respect. When you embody these qualities authentically, you don't need to make anyone panic. They'll naturally want to be part of your world because you've created something worth being part of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we dive even deeper into the psychology of personal power and authentic confidence.